All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of To the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we're dipping back into the Red Sox system. Actually, it's one of the newest members of the Red Sox system. We have Joe Vogatsky on today. Now, Joe, I always like to kind of start these off on, kind of a little layup and something easy, but I know you're back home in Virginia right now for the off season, but how has the off season been treating you? I guess trade. Let's not talk about the trade right now. Let's just talk about what you've been doing in the off season.
Yeah, so it's been treating me well, back home and been back and forth between here and JMU a little bit. JMU is only about an hour and a half from me, so basically go there for a little bit of the week and train there, but really just training 6 days a week, getting into throwing now, about to be out the long toss and getting off the mound here soon. So everything's treating me well here on my end, getting ready for the holidays. That's been kind of hectic, trying to get your last minute shopping in and all that kind of stuff. So just trying to, tackle those and get all of that stuff done. That's been what I've been pretty much up to now.
All right, I gotta talk about it. It's the boring part, but it's it's obviously something that just happened, a big change in your professional career. You were involved in a trade, coming over from the Pirates to the Red Sox system. Can you just take me through, I guess, the you getting traded, like, with the phone call and like, how did you find out? And I guess, can you just take me through it?
Yeah. So basically, I had no idea. Like, I had no idea from start to finish, like what was happening. So I was actually, it was Sunday morning. I was still sleeping, and I got a phone call, and I was like, oh, this looks like an important number. So I answered the call, and it was the basically the Pirates just calling me to let me know that I've been traded, and the Red Sox would touch base soon. So then about, I don't even know, 5-10 minutes later, the Red Sox called me, congratulating me, and welcomed me to the organization. And basically that whole day kind of just sped up on me a little bit. So it was like by that time, like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and before I knew it, like it was already 3 o'clock. I hadn't eaten lunch. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this day's just speeding up. So I kind of had to take a step back and kind of start slowing the day down a little bit and realizing, hey, like it's a trade, like I gotta get my stuff done. So basically that first half of the morning, it was really it was hectic all morning and all that, trying to figure things out. But after that, it started cooling down a little bit, and I started getting back into routine and all that kind of stuff.
So obviously it was a bit of a surprise. I know you probably weren't expecting to even be considered to be traded or anything like that, but I guess looking back on it, was it one of those things where you're just like, that was one of the craziest things that's happened to you? Because one day you go to bed and you're just like, okay, I'm in the Pirates organization. I'm going to the Pirates spring training in just a month and a half here, and you're kind of like have that all set. But then it's just like, okay, now I got to learn new coaching staff, new organization, everything. Like, I guess when did that kind of settle in that you're like, okay, like I'm going to a new place?
I think later that night into the next morning is kind of when it settled in. Just because like it's crazy how it works. Like I think the night before I had gotten something for the Pirates, like the first spring training, and then the next morning I was like, oh, I'm getting traded to Boston. So just trying, like that night after the trade kind of happened into the next morning, once the Red Sox reached out more, that's when it kind of set in, and I was on to a new path and a new journey, and so really the next morning.
So you said that when you heard from the Red Sox org, the next, I guess right after the Pirates gave you a call, what were those conversations like? Was it just kind of like, hey, like welcome to Boston, like we'll reach out, with, or so and so will reach out with more, or like I guess how were those talks with the Red Sox?
Yeah, so the someone from the front office reached out to me and basically just congratulating me that they had seen me through the whole draft or through the draft process. They really liked me through the process, and that they wish they could have gotten me, but it just didn't work out in the draft. So they welcomed me that way, and then basically they said that someone would reach out with the medical and pitching here later this week, and we get things going. It's a tough time too because right now MLB has the dead period, so you can't really do too much. So this is kind of a tough period as well. So just trying to take it day by day and try to do my best to transition and work through it all.
So I would assume with the dead period, you're kind of in a spot right now where you're kind of like, hey, like they can't really talk to me about what they want me to do, or like what they want, if they want you to, tweak an arsenal or do whatever it is like that they want. So it's like, it's one of those things where I feel like you're kind of in like a limbo right now where you're just like, okay, like it's the dead period. Like, I know I'm part of it. I know they're going to reach out to me, but at the same time, it's like you can't really get anything beneficial, I guess, like going from them until the new year. So how is that? Like just joining a new org and just like not really having like as much, I guess, as you would if you got traded during the season or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I mean, at first it was like I said, it was shell shock, whatever. But I've just been staying with my plan, staying with my routine for throwing and lifting, and keeping up with that. So that way, when we get out of this dead period and they're able to tell me certain things, I'm able just to jump on board to what they want me to do. So it's kind of been not as hard with throwing and lifting and all that, because I do have a plan in place that would take me up until end of January anyway. So that's not been too hard right now, but I would love to be able to talk with them and talk pitching and talk a lot of stuff with them so I can get equipped with it right away and get to work. But right now I'm just kind of doing my stuff with throwing and lifting to make sure when that does open back up, I can have those talks and get rolling.
So for somebody that's not too familiar with you, what kind of pitcher are you?
So I would describe myself as more of like a kind of like a bulldog kind of mentality. I just kind of go out there and put everything I got into it and don't really care who's on the other side of the box and who's in the box or whatever. I just go out there and throw my stuff. More of like I just call myself a low arm slot type guy with traits that have a little bit of high spin rate up in the zone. So more of just I'm more of a guy who works off my fastball and then throw some off speed pitches in there. I'm trying to develop a couple pitches this off season as well to get some other things, but I'm just kind of like I'd put myself in a category kind of like a bulldog, just like go out there. Doesn't matter what's in front of you. Doesn't matter who's in the box. Go out there and compete, and best stuff wins.
So there's a website that you'll probably get used to here as you start your Red Sox tenure, and it's called SoxProspects.com. They already have a page for you up, which those guys do incredible stuff with covering the Red Sox system. But they have your arsenal right now as a fastball slider, and your fastball touches that says around 97. Your slider's got high spin rate, and you have a changeup as well on there. So there is something that sticks out when the Red Sox either draft a guy, sign a guy that's in their minor leagues. Is they always have the guy learn a sweeper. That's always like one of the first things that it's like an organizational thing. I don't know why, but it is. And is that accurate on your arsenal, like your velo? And did they even? I know that it's dead period, but did they say it on the initial call? Like you're going to learn a sweeper?
No one mentioned a sweeper to me yet, but I actually have a little bit this off season played with a sweeper, just to see like what it would do from my arm slot or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. I've seen that out there about like sweepers and all that. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I've thrown a little bit, and I would love to learn a sweeper because my slider and curveball are kind of the same. If I could get one, it's kind of like a bigger sweeper. That would I think benefit me a lot.
You might be in the right place. So it's been a thing for the last at least 2 drafts that I've had a lot of the Red Sox guys on this offseason, and that's been a big thing for them. Is like as soon as they entered the org, they kind of wanted them to have the sweeper in the arsenal. So maybe that's why they liked you a little bit. Maybe they saw that they could turn it into a sweeper. Who knows?
Yeah.
But as far as I guess the rest of the arsenal and are you where does your fastball sit these days? Like is that all accurate though? What else you throw?
Yeah, that's all pretty much accurate with my fastball and slider. I am working on this off season a sinker and a splitter. So instead of a changeup, I'm going more to splitter type base just because of the way I throw and my arm slot's kind of easier for me to get to a splitter than a changeup and the way it's coming out. So trying to get to a splitter and then try just mostly that sinker too to get something that runs the other way other than my slider. That way people can stay off of and quit cheating to sliders on the outer half.
All right. So before I get into some of the off-field stuff, I wanted to ask you, now that you're a member of the Boston Red Sox, what has that felt to you? Like, I guess what are some of the takeaways you have of the Red Sox org? And I'm not sure who you were a fan of growing up or anything in Virginia, but what do you think about being a member of the Red Sox?
I'm extremely happy. I mean, I've been to Fenway I've been to Fenway I think once in my life, and I really loved it there. It was a great place in Boston. The city's nice and all that, and Fenway is so beautiful. I walked around that stadium and been to it. Beautiful place. But my initial thoughts on Boston was I was extremely happy to be with the Boston Red Sox. I think it'll be a great new chapter for me and something that will help me grow. And this is a great place. I want to do it.
I know you didn't get a chance to make your debut in affiliate ball yet. Obviously, last year coming out of the draft, but are you rooting at all to get a chance to at least start in Salem to be close to home?
I mean, I've thought about it a little bit. To me though, it wouldn't be that big of a deal where I started, but I mean, I thought about that a little bit because I'd be about 2.5 hours from where I live is Salem. So yeah, it would be nice, but at the same time, to me, either low A, high, choke double, it doesn't really matter for me.
Yeah, I was curious. When I saw Virginia, I was like, oh, like he's probably not too far. I know JMU's right, not too far from Salem, Virginia. All right, so I like to do a thing on here where I kind of talked about a lot of the boring stuff, kind of talked about like on the field things like that. But I always like transitioning here to life before pro. So before you got drafted, and I have a pretty simple question for you that might it's a question that I like to ask guys. But who got you into baseball?
So who got me into baseball is my dad, because when I was younger, I started playing football, and I would play flag football. So then, as I started growing up and through the years, my dad got me into baseball, and I just started playing baseball. And it was actually something that I fell in love with when I was younger, around 6 to 8 years old. And I didn't really pitch or anything like that until I was 10. So I was just, I don't know, it was something that just clicked with me when I was younger that I just really enjoyed doing. So my dad was the one that really got me into it.
And growing up in Virginia, what was it like playing, baseball? Like, obviously, I always like asking this question too, because obviously you hear a lot about the baseball hotbeds like Texas and Georgia, Florida, California, where a lot of guys are coming from. So show some love to Virginia right now. What was it like with the competition, growing up playing baseball, and I guess even just growing up off the field in Virginia?
Yeah. So with the competition first, it was actually Virginia is one of the I don't like people kind of sleep on a little bit, but Virginia has really good competition here with all the different travel teams that are around here, and they're very competitive. I've been on a couple of those, and all those travel teams up and down Virginia, they're all very competitive. You got the Richmond Braves, which is kind of well known. I didn't play for them, but then you have Diamond Elite, the Stars with Coangelo, so a lot of competition there with baseball to say the least. But off the field, with just the people around here, I love everybody I've met here in Virginia. Virginia is kind of like they call it the lover state, I'm pretty sure. And kind of, I don't know why, but I could kind of see it a little bit, but everybody's just kind of friendly here. And where I'm kind of from, it's kind of close to DC a little bit, about an hour from DC. So it's not kind of like city kind of people. It's kind of like outskirts. So I love it here.
And that leads me into my next question here, with you choosing JMU, and you spent 4 years there. I know JMU's in Virginia. It's probably not too far from home, but what ultimately led you to choosing to play at JMU?
So when I just started getting recruiting, my pitching coach from back home actually played for the head coach at JMU, Coach Eikenberry. He played for him at VMI. So he introduced me to Coach Eikenberry and JMU when I was going through the recruiting process. And then ultimately, when I went for a visit down at JMU, really loved the campus. It's not too big to where like you may get some of these other ones like UNC or big campus and all that. JMU's kind of like middle ground type campus, not too hard to navigate. So I kind of like the campus a lot, everybody on there. And then once I went down and met all like the baseball staff and met everything that they have down there, that's kind of what put me over the edge and kind of made me choose JMU over pretty much everything else.
I saw as well that your senior year that you had a fantastic senior year, and you ended up being the second most in saves in program history. what did that mean to you to kind of be, have your name up in the history books, I guess, in JMU for, who knows, probably for a long time coming?
It means a lot. A lot of good talent and a lot of good people have come out of JMU, and I just like that now I have my name there, and I have the chance to kind of just represent JMU further on. And it's a great baseball school. It's a great school in general, and just to have my name in the history book, it means a lot for me, especially since I stayed there for 4 years and played all my years there. So I mean, it means a lot just for me personally.
So I saw that you were drafted twice. So you ended up getting drafted a year prior to 2024 as well. Can you take me through, I guess, getting drafted in 2023 and I guess that whole process and you deciding to go back to JMU?
Yeah, so my junior year kind of hit like a big kind of growth in terms of like on the field and performance wise. So that ultimately led me to get up to the Cape Cod League, which then I was able to get seen more, which ultimately led me to get drafted. So that whole process, the whole time, it was a interesting and fun process at the same time. Not knowing, you kind of had the unknown still of what was going to happen, and I kind of also had the other backup plan of going to JMU. So that was just kind of a whole process in itself. And so then that all happened. I ultimately just decided to go back to JMU and just go there for my senior year and enjoy it, and then come back out in this draft.
Yeah, that actually leads me to my next thing I wanted to ask you about was the Cape. And, you played for Bourne, which is a fantastic team to play for every single year. It seems like they are churning out guys that are, top 5 round picks and getting to the majors every year. So you had a ton of success on the Cape as well. So how was that experience like for you?
I actually really loved it. So I wasn't too far in terms of like off the field stuff. I wasn't too far from Bourne. I was like 5 minutes from the stadium with my host family. So, and I was kind of close to a beach. So off the field, like itself in the Cape, that was an amazing experience. But with Bourne itself, I really loved it. We had Jared Saltamacchia there, so I was able to pick his mind a little bit and ask him some questions and learn a little bit there. And then with our head coach and then also the pitching coach, I was able to learn a little bit more, kind of science behind baseball and some other things. So I really enjoyed the Cape. I think it helped, help progress my career to where it is now, to, facing those higher up kind of competition guys and just being able to have fun and meet some new people and ultimately just gonna boost my performance and all that.
You mentioned a name that is pretty loved in New England with Jared Saltalamacchia. Did you end up? Have you sent him a text yet, or all say, "Hey, I'm on the good guys now"?
I have not. I have not sent him anything yet, but he was one of the guys that or one of the coaches I really liked. His mind and everything. He was able to just tell me about different pitches. Whenever he talks, I was listening because he knows a lot about the game.
Was that your first time getting up to Massachusetts?
That was my first and only time being there.
So what did you think?
I liked it. Other than it was cold in the summertime at first, I had to get used to it at first. But people were telling me, "Hey, you might want to pack a sweatshirt. It's gonna be a little cold." I'm like, "It's summertime. It's not gonna be cold." And then once I actually got up there, I was like, "Oh yeah, it is kind of cold at nights up here."
Yeah.
But other than that, I kind of like Massachusetts. It's kind of a nice state.
Yeah, definitely in the summertime at night gets a
Mm-hmm.
little chilly. It's always got that breeze coming off the ocean. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, so I wasn't like familiar with it either. And I was always kind of like, oh, it's like 80 degrees during the day. I don't need like a pullover for nighttime. No, you need that pullover.
Yeah, you do. Especially when you're playing and you're trying to pitch and you start fitting down the pen and you get cold down there. Kind of need something.
So I want to get a little further off the field here, and I ask this question to every guy, and I get 2 answers, usually one of 2 answers on this one. So I'm going to see if you surprise me here. What do you do in your free time?
So now, since in Virginia it's kind of hunting season, so I've been hunting a lot, and then I will fish, but I haven't been fishing a lot just because it's kind of been colder here. But in my free time here, I've been hunting a lot, and then usually here and there I'll play a little bit of video games and then try to hang out with friends as much as I can.
I didn't hear you golfing.
No, see, that's a big thing for me. I have never golfed in my whole entire life. However, I do want to try getting into it because golfing in Florida, I've heard, is amazing. So I do want to try getting into it a little bit. I just never, I think I've gone to Top Golf one time and I try hitting the ball straight and it goes about 100 feet the other way. So I'm not too good at it.
All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice for once you get down to Florida. Some of those guys some of those pitchers down there in the Red Sox system, we've talked to a lot of them this offseason. Those guys are sharks. They will eat you alive on the golf course. Some of these guys are golfing nonstop, and it's so just be careful. Be careful who you go with if you're going down there for the first time. That's all I got to say. Just be careful.
Yeah.
I have a couple names if you need them on guys that aren't too good that are like just trying to keep going. So if you need those, just hit me up.
Might need those.
There's a couple guys, man, where they take it real serious out there and they're shooting low, and it's like they'll make you pay for dinner or whatever it is, right?
Gosh.
All right, so I did see on your player page on JMU that I saw there was 2 different things listed on here. So I saw your major was sport and recreation management is what they had listed. But then at the bottom, it said you planned on, I guess when you got there, on majoring in finance. What did you end up majoring in?
I ended up doing sport and recreation management just because I had started with finance when I had first gotten there. And I realized sitting there that's just something I just wouldn't want to do with my life outside of baseball. So I went with sport and recreation management just to stay like in like the sports kind of like sports world.
So that leads me to my question here. If you weren't playing professional baseball right now, what would you be doing with your life?
I would definitely be trying to find something in the sports industry. If that, coaching, maybe that's something I would like to do. Maybe something, try to get into like a front office, maybe try to do scouting, something along that kind of line was what I'd be trying to do. Just something in the sports world. I just don't think, sitting behind a desk and doing numbers with finance was really for me. So maybe anything, kind of sports related in that kind of field I'd be trying to do. Just trying to get outside and, do something that I really like.
So I alluded to this earlier, and I think I see something behind you that I'm curious about. Who were some of your favorite athletes growing up? It doesn't have to be baseball, right? I say that because if I think I know what that is, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys star behind you.
It is.
Okay, so who are some of the favorite athletes growing up?
I would say growing up now, kind of like present now in the baseball world, I kind of just like Max Scherzer, Aaron Judge, those type of guys. I think they're just great role models, and they take care of their business on the field. The football side, I'm big in the Cowboys. That's probably like my favorite team across like every sports domain. So growing up, I was a big Tony Romo fan. Liked Tony Romo a lot. I like Zeke when he first came out of college. I'm not really a big Zeke fan now, but like him a lot. And currently, I kind of like Michael Parsons a lot for the Cowboys. He's kind of one of my favorite players on the Cowboys right now.
How does a guy that grows up in Virginia become a Cowboys fan?
It started at a young age. My dad really liked the Cowboys growing up. And, his is interesting. He was from Pennsylvania, close to Pittsburgh. So he grew up with a bunch of Steeler fans, and he just couldn't do it. He kind of just broke off and became a Cowboys fan. So growing up, I just kind of got used to, always seeing the Cowboys on TV and just, watching them play. So that just kind of stuck with me as I grew up through the years. And, it's I'd say across all sports, that's my biggest sports team and that I'm a fan of. Like, if I pay attention to any sports, it's really football the most. And that's my favorite team across anything.
All right, so I'm not gonna ask you about this year. I know it's a bad year. I'm a Patriots guy, so I get it, man. We're just Well, Patriots are having a worse year than the Cowboys actually somehow. But even with the Cowboys losing their starting QB, but that's for a whole other podcast, man. We could talk about all the misfortune.
We're into looking for draft picks right now.
Yeah, we are. I'm not even upset when we lose right now because I'm like, you know what? It just gets us a better pick. So I'm sure Cowboys fans are probably like, we're not going to win the division this year. It's like you might as well just
Might as well, lose the next couple so we can get a top 10 pick.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So here's a question I like to ask too. Are you a food guy?
Not really.
Ooh,
not really a food guy.
What do you mean by that?
I kind of not eat the same foods, but I kind of like strictly just like certain foods more than other ones. So I'm not really like into trying different foods and all that kind of stuff.
So you're a picky eater.
Kind of, yes.
Okay. Well, this one might be up your alley then. I like this question that I asked the guys too. So I need a Mount Rushmore from you, and it's going to be your top 4 restaurant chains. They can be fast food or sit down.
First would be Texas Roadhouse.
Good man.
Number 1. I love that. They had one in JMU. Went there all the time. Wish they didn't. Wish they didn't have one there, so I wouldn't go there so often. But
too many rolls. But yeah.
Yeah. I'd go Olive Garden number 2.
Okay.
I kind of like that. Chick-fil-A's got to be in there. I think Chick-fil-A would be number 4 for me. Just put it
popular.
Yeah. Number 3, I would say this is kind of like a Harrisonburg kind of JMU thing. So I don't know if people are going to not really know what it is, but we had something called Billy Jack's. Basically just like a bar, had like wings, burgers, everything you could think of. They were known for they call them sticky nugs. Basically they're wings. But they were really good. And then they had fried mac and cheese bites is what they would call them. It was up there. I'd actually flip that to number 2 and put Olive Garden number 3.
I mean, sounds up my alley. So Texas Roadhouse obviously has my heart. Obviously Chick-fil-A. I'm a Zaxby's guy, but you know what? Like I've gotten Chick-fil-A probably every single time I've asked this. It's like Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, and some version of the Cookout or the rest of them. So, all right, so not too bad. I mean, you might call yourself a picky eater, but you got some good in your top 4 there. Texas Roadhouse is legit, has my heart forever. So I like to end these things on. I'm still workshopping a name on this, but I call it this or that. Where I'm going to give you 2 options, and you have to give me what you prefer out of the 2 that I give you. And I'm only going to make you defend yourself if your answer is in the minority, where it's like all the other guys are picking the other way. So I'm going to make you defend your answer if it's one that is the other way. Nothing too crazy though. I think you got this just off the top of your head. We'll start this off. If you're going on a vacation, would you rather go on a vacation to the beach or to the mountains?
Beach.
Do you like summertime or fall time better?
Summertime.
Sunflower seeds or bubble gum?
Bubble gum.
Would you rather pitch in a day game or a night game?
Night game.
Why is that? I've gotten a lot of day games.
I feel like me personally, I sweat a lot. So in day games, when it's really hot out and I'm sweating, it's kind of harder for me. I mean, I make it work, but it gets onto my hands and I got to really like kind of wipe them off and use some other stuff. So night games, the sun's not really out too much. So I'm not sweating as much. So that way it's kind of easier for me to navigate those kind of games.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, it's a good reason why. I've gotten so many day games though, and I'm not sure why. I thought everybody would love pitching at night, but
yeah, better crowd too, better environment. I feel like for night games.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I did just take a peek. I know you haven't started games since I think I saw your last start at JMU was 2022. But which one did you like better? Did you like starting or coming out of the bullpen?
So when I first started my career at JMU, I love starting. I didn't like relieving at all. But once I got a taste of kind of both of them, I would say I like relieving now the most, just because I'm the type of guy that likes to throw before the game and then kind of sit down and just relax, talk to some people, have fun. And then once it gets close to me going in, I like to lock in and do all my routine and get on the mound and go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I always ask this question, and obviously a lot of guys go from like starting in college and now they're like in professional baseball and they're, in the bullpen. But I always like asking because, some guys are big routine guys and it's like, well, when I started, I knew when I was like, I could go through my routine and everything. But yeah, I'm always interested on that. So give me which one you would rather have more. Would you rather have a cheeseburger or a chicken sandy?
Cheeseburger.
Good man. Let's see this next one here. Would you rather watch History Channel or HGTV?
Ooh, I don't even know. Ooh.
Tough.
I'm gonna go with the History Channel.
Tough. I like them both. No.
Yeah, I like them both. I go with the History Channel.
Okay. Let's try this one out here. So you haven't actually had a spring training yet in Florida, but I'm assuming you've been to Florida before, like just for a vacation or anything like that. Okay. So which would you prefer? Would you like a Virginia summertime heat or would you like the Florida heat?
Virginia for sure.
What is it like there?
It's compared to Florida, because I've been to Florida in the summertime. It's so much nicer. In Florida, you get like 95 to 100, and I feel like it's really humid. Virginia, it gets humid, but it's not like it doesn't get like as hot. So it's not like in Florida. Whenever I go to Florida and I was playing, I always felt like I was sticky, and I don't know why. But in Virginia, I don't feel like I'm as sticky when it's like summertime.
Okay. This one's gonna be a tough one for you, I think. It's like a two-parter here. Which do you like better? Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
Tony Romo.
Well, that was quick. Okay. Not a big Dak guy over there, I'm assuming, or maybe just a big Romo guy.
I'm a big Romo guy. I think Romo prime time compared to Dak kind of prime time. Romo's better. In my opinion.
Okay. All right. Last question I have for you here. This one's been a little, I don't know. It's been like 50-50. So I'm curious what you're going to say. Which way would you rather end an inning, with a strikeout or a double play?
I think I'd go with I think I'd actually go with the double play.
So why is that?
And I would say that because first you can save the pitch count a little bit. So if a guy gets on quick, you get a double play out of the inning. With strikeout, you kind of got to, maybe he battles you or whatever. Double play, he could still battle you. But, I mean, you're getting your fielders involved and keeping everybody involved in the game. So that's why I kind of go double play.
Yeah, see, when I started asking this question, I thought it was going to be so like double play, hands down, like double play. But so many guys are like, no, strikeout. I can give a nice fist pump. Like I'm out of the inning. It feels good. And I'm just like, well, yeah, but a double play, you were in trouble. You had a guy on. You could only throw one pitch and get the double play type thing. So I'm with you on that. It's been very 50-50 though. So I like asking that one to pitchers. I think it's kind of fun to see how you guys think. All right. Well, Joe, I appreciate all the time you coming on here and kind of getting to know you a little bit. Obviously, brand new to the Red Sox organization. And so we're definitely going to be looking out for you once spring training rolls around down at Fort Myers here in like a month and a half. It's sneaking up on us.
It is. It's coming quick.
So, but thank you so much for hopping on, and we'll definitely be looking out for you once spring training rolls around.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.